Hello, and thank you for joining our first webinar, 5 Steps to Master Mobile ROI. We're excited you've taken the time from your busy day to learn about mobile lifecycle marketing automation across the customer lifecycle. My name is Lauren Wenlin, and I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Leanplum. We give Leanplum customers all the tools they need to be mobile heroes. From instrumentation to best practices, our team is your partner throughout the entire mobile journey. Just a quick reminder, you can submit questions at any time during the webinar by clicking on the Ask Question button at the top left corner of the page. We'll answer those at the end of the presentation. In addition, there will be a few poll questions throughout this presentation. I'll let you know when they come up. Here at Leanplum, we know that mobile is not just a channel, it's the computer in your pocket, quickly evolving to be the hub of customer relationships. Success on mobile means moving beyond app downloads. True growth requires engaging users to keep them coming back. Too often, the tools needed to build customer relationships are fragmented across multiple platforms. These include tablet, phone, and web activity. Providing value to the user requires an integrated effort. Leanplum is the leading mobile marketing platform. We shape meaningful engagement for app users at scale so you can create value and maximize ROI. Leanplum is built on a powerful foundation of analytics, A/B testing, and personalization to give you deep customer insights. In order to act on these insights, our tool enables actions via messaging, mobile marketing automation, and app editing to deliver the most complete platform on the market. We offer a total lifecycle solution that is not only enterprise ready, but allows you to quickly make a measurable impact on your users. Our technology helps you create meaningful engagement, which in turn improves performance and maximizes ROI. We work with some of the largest global brands, including Lyft, Nordstrom, and Tesco. We have seen significant growth in revenue, customers, employee number, and scale of data we're managing. We manage 1.8 billion events per day, and Leanplum is installed in 7 million devices. Not by accident, our growth coincides with a massive explosion of smartphone adoption. There are expected to be 6 billion smartphone users by 2020. For many of these people, this will be their only access to the internet. This translates into a massive opportunity for application providers. As smartphone ownership continues to grow, people are turning to their mobile devices for more and more everyday activities. In fact, people look at their phones on average 200 times per day. Each time a person looks at their phone is an opportunity to engage in a valuable mobile moment with your customers. However, it's much easier said than done. Mobile has created a fundamental change in customer expectations. How do you win these moments? There are many opportunities. Mobile marketers need the right tools to help them evolve to fully engage customers and unlock the advantage that mobile offers. Today's customers are no longer sitting in their living room taking the time to make considered purchases. These customer expectations require brands to respond in timely and relevant ways at scale. Responsiveness is now measured in seconds, not minutes. Mobile teams need real-time information at their fingertips to understand their customers and what they're doing in their apps, as well as the tools to engage in the most contextual way possible. To engage and retain customers throughout their mobile journey, it's critical to take advantage of each step in the mobile lifecycle. Here we've outlined 5 steps of the mobile lifecycle marketing and highlighted one tactic each to capitalize on each moment. The first step is onboarding, and one of the most, if not the most important step in the mobile lifecycle, since this is where you make your first impression on users. Next, we have engagement. We'll explore how to keep users coming back to your app. The third is conversion, where you'll learn how to encourage customers to continue moving through your app to achieve key milestones or actions. Reactivation follows. This can be one of the more trickier steps to master. Once a user stops using an app, it can be hard to re-engage them, but we've got some tips to help. And then finally, the 5th step is loyalty. You've worked so hard to onboard, engage, and retain these users. Now make these users your champions who will recommend your app and help spread the word. In the following slides, we'll lay out specific case studies, use cases, tips, and tactics to help maximize each step in the life cycle to help you master mobile ROI. But first, we have our first poll question. Is your application a native mobile app? There are 3 answers to choose from. Please select one. Yes, no, no, but considering it. You can submit your responses by clicking on the Ask a Question button in the top left corner above the presentation. I know it seems counterintuitive, but Bright Talk swears it'll work. I'll give you a couple minutes to respond. Now let's take a look at the first step in the mobile lifecycle, onboarding. This is your first impression, and it counts a lot. This is a valuable initial touch point to help new users easily understand your value proposition by highlighting features tailored specifically to them. And don't be afraid to make it fun. Although there are several tactics to help with the onboarding process, including setting up reminders to complete sign-up and simplifying tutorial screens, we're going to focus on offering users a soft prompt in front of push notification opt-ins during this section of the webinar. One way to get the most out of the onboarding experience is by timing when you ask new users to opt into push notifications while providing context for the actual acceptance. Industry standard opt-in rates for push notifications are only about 40%. By placing a soft opt-in in front of the actual iOS opt-in, you increase the acceptance rate given several benefits. One, you don't lose your one chance of users accepting push if they select no. If the soft prompt is declined, the actual opt-in is not displayed. Two, you can choose where in the app you display the prompt, increasing the likelihood for acceptance if placed after a positive experience. Three, you can personalize the message so that the benefit is relevant to the user. Why do they want it? For example, users are searching for flights on a hotel in a travel app. You can prompt them to enable push alerts for upcoming flights, including delays and cancellations. By providing context, a user is much more likely to opt in for push notifications when they know the value the notification will provide. Consider this approach rather than sending a standard default prompt when a user first opens an app and doesn't understand why push notifications be beneficial. Next, let's look at a case study with Last Minute Travel. Last Minute Travel manages bookings for flights, hotels, rental cars, and activities in over 4,500 cities worldwide. They wanted to increase push notification opt-ins, which was only at 22%. This meant that the app was losing valuable opportunities to communicate with their users on their most personal device. They implemented Leanplum's Soft Ask Push Permissions, which enables a personalized in-app message at the time of engagement and describes the benefit of push, like flight reminders, deals, and travel tips. If Last Minute Travel could explain to their users why push notifications would improve their mobile experience, then users would be more inclined to opt in for the messaging. Of the users who saw and accepted the soft ask, 62% went on to enable push promotions. Many mobile marketers are afraid that sending push notifications might possibly drive away user. Last Minute Travel's experience proves the opposite is true. Here, 62% of Last Minute Travel's users craved communications that offered them tangible benefits, like a great deal on a last-minute flight, saving users money, and increasing the app's revenue. Last Minute Travel found that when they delivered the right message to the right user at the right time, it could engage users throughout their life cycle and boost long-term conversions. They saw a 182% lift in their opt-in numbers. Let's move on to the second step in the mobile lifecycle journey, engagement. 1/3 of users will open an app only once. Don't be one of the many apps that gets downloaded but is rarely used. Keep your users active with monthly, weekly, or daily engagements. Deliver compelling and personalized messaging based on timing, shopping patterns, location, and more with expert precision. One of the most successful tactics we've seen to drive greater engagement is through milestone notifications. Other tactics for engagement include one-time user activation and new feature deployment. You can learn more about these in our definitive guide to mobile lifecycle marketing, which will be available to download after this webinar. Delivering increased value to users leads to higher app usage and creates product evangelism. Provide a service to your users by sending them valuable push notifications with the right information at the right time. Try automating notifications and drip campaigns to follow a predetermined order based on context and behavior. Let's use a travel app again as an example. Once a user has booked a trip, you can create a campaign to do the following. Send a push notification with the destination travel guide 1 week before the trip. Send a notification to travel to the airport with deep linking 1 day before the trip. or send a weather update for the destination 3 hours before the trip. By providing personalized and relevant information at the right time, the notifications made the travel experience less stressful, and as a result, the user is more likely to use the app again the next time they want to book a trip. It also positions the application as more of a service guide rather than just a channel to purchase travel. Let's look at a case study to see how Pixel found success in sending notifications when users were most engaged. Pixel is a leading mobile gaming company that blends comic book art with character-driven storylines. Their customers spanning the world had different engagement patterns depending on location and gaming habits. Some played after school, while others commuting to work. With so many diverse segments, they realized that the mass push notification didn't garner the desired engagement, especially when sending messages promoting in-game currency. Pixel wanted to optimize the delivery time to see if users would purchase in-game currency. They used Leanplum's optimal time functionality to analyze users' past behavior and send notifications at moments of peak engagement. Pixel saw their overall revenue dollars grow by 17%. Now for our second poll question. What are some of the tactics you've used to successfully engage with your mobile app users? Please select one of the following answers. One-time user activation, new feature deployment, personalized updates, and if other, please specify. As a reminder, you can submit your response by clicking on the Ask Question button in the top left corner of the presentation. I'll give you a couple of seconds again to respond. The next step after engagement is conversion. Register, sign up, share, purchase, link, refer, whatever it is you want customers to do, conversion is when they do it. Each request should be a single step in your overall lifecycle flow. It's especially important in commerce apps, since the shopping cart abandonment rate for mobile is about 90%. That's just a 10% window to convert each customer. We'll highlight cart recovery to get your users to convert. When a user has abandoned a shopping cart in your app, an effective way to move them to conversion is through push and/or email notifications. Remind them that their items are saved in the cart and deep link back to the checkout page to make it easy for them to finish the checkout process. Personalization and timing are key here. Include the user's name and items still in the cart to provide context. And don't forget that some purchases require additional commitment time. To determine what works best for your users, experiment with different amounts of delay before sending a push reminder, such as 24 to 48 hours after the last item was added, 24 to 48 hours after the last app login. You can take this a step further and send a push notification to each individual user based on when he or she is most likely to open it. Recent data demonstrates that optimal time push notifications deliver 15% higher average revenue per user. If users receive content that is pertinent and interesting at a convenient time, they will have a much better impression of your brand and will be much more likely to convert. In addition, you can test out other offers such as free shipping or a discount incentive for users to complete their purchase. Let's look at Mixbook to see how they approach shopping cart abandonment. Mixbook provides customizable photo books, cards, and calendars through their Mosaic mobile app. They struggle with shopping cart abandonment along with many other mobile retailers today. With Leanplum's automated trigger and respond approach, they re-engage customers in a personal and timely way. 1 hour after customers abandoned their cart, timed responses were delivered via push notifications with following message. We saved your we saved your Mosaic order. Check out now and get it in 4 days. The control group received no push notification after they abandoned the cart. They saw a 14% lift in purchase conversion, which was huge for their bottom line. Now for our next poll question. What are some of the challenges moving users through the conversion funnel that you experience? Please choose from one of the following answers. Too many steps to complete the checkout, don't want to register, transitioning out of the app, payment options, or if other, please specify. Again, please submit your response by using the Ask Question button in the top left corner. We'll review the results and I'll give you a couple of seconds to answer the question. The next step we're going to review is reactivation. 75% of users stop using an app after 3 months. If a user isn't happy with your app, or it simply just isn't top of mind, they'll move on to the next one, which is why engaging dormant users is increasingly important. Reactivate them with notifications of newly launched features or content via push notifications. Maximize engagement to increase retention. Because remember, the cost of acquiring new users is much higher than retaining current ones. A key strategy to re-engage dormant users who haven't used your app for a while is to remember that these users were once active and leverage that historical behavior to identify specific areas of interest for new engagement. Knowing users' past behavior and preferences can help you cater their current interests. Knowing who they are, such as gender or location, can also assist in sending targeted messages that speak to them in a relevant way. The actions your dormant users have taken in the past can serve an important purpose when you're planning out a program of messages that drive users towards re-engagement. Let's look at a media app as a use case. A user, let's call her Madison, hasn't engaged with her lifestyle app in more than a week. She enjoys the app but needs to be reminded to open it again. By personalizing the message with her name and also leveraging past behavior to identify areas of interest and peak engagement, Madison is more likely to return to the app. In fact, personalization is 26% more profitable overall. Don't forget, you can submit any questions during this presentation by clicking the Ask Question button in the top left corner of the page. We'll be sure to answer those at the end of the presentation. Next, let's move on to our final step, loyalty. It's critical for you to know your most avid and loyal users. They're the ones most likely to monetize and keep monetizing. With challenges of discoverability in the saturated app store, word of mouth for promotion from brand ambassadors is imperative. However, don't expect your users to review the app on their own. It's most likely it won't even occur to them to write a review unless it's to leave negative feedback, which can be detrimental to your app store rating. So it's important that you ask your users to rate your app, but do it at the right time with the right frequency. When asking for users to rate your app, think about the user's experience and find peak moments of happiness, such as reaching a new level in a game or adding a friend. Once they've completed the action and the intrusion level is minimal, ask the user to rate their experience within the app. But keep in mind that you don't want to bombard your users with requests. Once the user declines to rate, take some time before you ask them again. Consider waiting until they open the app a few more times before gently prompting them to rate again. Determine a selected waiting period based on frequency of usage. Be sure to also take advantage of gathering information from dissatisfied users. Sometimes this feedback can be the most insightful. Provide a link to a feedback page where you can follow up directly to address their issues outside of the app. Let's take a look at a travel app as a use case when it comes to earning customer loyalty. Kevin, our user, is an avid traveler and likes apps that make his trips stress-free. He likes sharing the best travel apps with his friends, but sometimes forgets to rate them. He just needs a gentle reminder. Once he's booked his flight and received the confirmation, this is a prime opportunity to send an in-app message asking him to rate the app. Keep the message simple and the call to action clear and easy to accomplish. The difference between a 2 and 4-star rating could be the difference between 50,000 and 270,000 installs. So encourage the most active users to rate, but make sure you do it at the right time and in the right context. Now time for our fourth and final poll question. How do you encourage users to rate your app? Please select the most appropriate answer. Reminders, incentives, plugins, and if other, please specify. As a reminder, you can submit your response by clicking on the Ask Question button at the top left corner of the page. Again, I'll give you a couple seconds to answer. Now that we've established the 5 steps of mobile lifecycle marketing, from onboarding to loyalty, it can seem a bit underwhelming, but with the right tools in place, the process can be simplified. When looking for a partner that can offer all of the capabilities that maximize the effectiveness of your app, including analytics, deep and real-time analytics make immediate and informed decisions. Have these in place to see what changes and updates are impacting your user base positively or negatively so you can adjust quickly. A/B testing. This allows you to test changes in content and features and use those learnings to improve your app experience. By testing, you'll be able to better understand if you're using the right content at the right time and if you're selecting the most effective places to serve this content. Personalization. Go beyond just dropping in names in an email and use event-based triggers to send contextual and location-based notifications in real time. People are much more responsive to a message when you're sending when it's personalized and made relevant to them and sent at a time when they're more likely to be receptive. Messaging, both inside and outside the app, and in a variety of formats. Make sure you're passing along user data so it's contextual and relevant. Automation. Optimize the right content with timely delivery and audience segmentation. You don't want to be bogged down with having to schedule campaigns every day. Take a programmatic approach to app engagement, including app editing without the coding, using more sophisticated logic-based changes to A/B testing. I know we've covered a lot, so I'd like to now open it up for questions. Again, you can submit them by clicking on the Ask Question button in the top left corner of the page. Okay, we've got our first question here. It is, what are some of the ways that app developers can use smartphone location to better engage with users, with app users? So location can be used in several ways. I think the most common way is just targeting based on city or country, so you can contextualize your message given the audience. You can also use features such as geofencing. So tracking when a user walks within and out of an actual geolocation and triggering a message based on their actual location. So if you're a retailer that actually has brick and mortar stores, you can track when a user comes within a certain area around the store and give them promotions or discounts to entice them to actually purchase. Okay, let's see about a next question. Okay, we see a lot of drop off at onboarding. Anything your customers have been doing to get them through all of the goals? So when you're looking at onboarding, there's several things that you can do. So the first off is you can look at your actual onboarding steps. It may be possible that there are too many steps involved in the onboarding process. So what you can do is you can actually A/B test the different steps involved. Maybe try one segment getting 3 steps to the onboarding process versus the traditional 5. If you also see users not coming back after a certain point, you can put together a marketing automated drip campaign that sends users push notifications with relevant reasons why they should come back into the app and continue the onboarding process. Great. Third question here. We have poor app store ratings, but have improved the app a lot since launch. How can I incentivize more positive reviews to combat the initial bad ones? That's a great question. One of the things that you can do is use targeting in a really smart way here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create an in-app message to be prompted to your current users to encourage them to rate the app store, but to rate the app 5 stars. But what you can do is you can target the campaign for users who are only on the newest version of the app, so that you're only going to be asking users who have had that positive improved experience to rate the app store, or excuse me, to rate the application. Okay, let's take another question here. How do I convince my team that engagement is as important as acquisition? So this is a pretty good question. So the one thing that we have found is it is much cheaper to keep your current users and have them engage in the app than having to spend the money to acquire new users. And as I'm sure you know, the cost of acquiring new users is very, very costly. But one of the things that you can do to also convince your team that engagement is also important is you can use analytics to show the overall cost per user that has engaged 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, month, etc. And you can create cohorts of users in your analytics to show the value of each of those users and those who are very engaged versus those who are not, and really make a case for your team based on that. Okay, we have a fifth question here. It says, sorry, I missed the A/B testing. What does that mean? So what A/B testing does is it takes one group who is getting what we call the control experience, which is the standard experience, and then you're offering another experience that you're going to be wanting to test, and a secondary group gets that what we call the variant. And the A/B test is then going to be comparing those two groups who are getting different experiences, and then you're going to be seeing if your different metrics are going to be moved based off of the new experience versus the control. Okay, let's move on to another question. Okay, we got one here. It says, what app permissions should we ask for while a target customer is downloading the app from the App Store, considering we want to use this data to generate analytics going forward? So regarding app permissions, I think probably the most significant one that we've been talking about so far is the push opt-in permissions. So as you know, with iOS, the user must be prompted with the standard iOS opt-in to receive push notifications. One thing that we highly recommend is you actually put a soft prompt in front of the actual opt-in. So if the user declines it, you don't lose your one chance to ask that user. It also allows you to move where the actual prompt is being displayed. So rather than having it happen right at app open, you can have the push permission asked at a place in the app where the user now understands the benefit of getting push notifications. So say I'm a media app and somebody just searched some content. I could then ask for the push permission saying, hey, you just searched for all this great content. Do you want push notifications for when new content's available? And now they understand the benefit as to why they would want that and are more likely to go ahead and accept and be a happy accepted push user. All right, let's move on to another question. Okay, it says here, if we run varying ad campaigns to promote our app and want to see different retention and monetization per ad, is this something that Leanplum easily supports? Great question. So Leanplum integrates with third-party attribution providers. So these are companies such as Kachava, AppsFlyer, Adjust, Tune. All of these companies will go and track the source of your initial attribution. Those companies then will integrate with Leanplum and send us all of that advertiser information per install. We will then take all of the subsequent user information and track it per that ad source that's been passed to us. So you can certainly slice and dice the data in any way that you like per ad provider. So if you want to find out, okay, great, of my users who came in via Chartboost, what's their retention versus those that came in via Vungle, right? All right. We got another question here, which is, what are the different ways to personalize? Wow. So there are many, many different ways to personalize. You can personalize based off of the message. So one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be capturing specific information about your user. It could be gender, it could be name, it could be age, etc. And you can use all of those things about the user to personalize their message. But you can even take it a step further. So you can also track all of their activity within the application and use that not only to trigger when they get a notification, personalizing their experience, but you can also capture the actions and the things that they've touched to alter the message that's being provided to them. So using a retail example, maybe somebody went ahead and searched for shoes. You could then trigger a message after the next time they search, and you could alter the message to say, hey, Lauren, I saw that you had searched shoes. Come back and check out, other types of shoes, or include brands that they've searched, etc. You can also personalize their in-app experience. So using whether it be welcoming messages or maybe altering whether they get a new feature based on their past activity. All of those things can be personalized. All right, so we got time for one more question here. And this question is, how do we nail the right time for push? Well, this is a great question. So my first recommendation is always A/B test it. So, for example, you can try sending a push 1 hour after a user does a specific thing versus 3 hours. Then you can A/B test, having one group get the 1 hour, another group get the 3 hour, and see which one is going to be yielding the behavior that you're looking for. Leanplum also offers an optimal time push, which will actually take a look at all of the user's past behavior and will send the push notification to the user when they are most likely to be active and engaged in the app. So the sense is, if I have, or the thought is that if I have been active and engaged, I'm more likely to engage with that push notification as well at that time. Great. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thanks again for joining our webinar. If you'd like to learn more about how to master mobile ROI, please download our guide, The Definitive Guide to Mobile Lifecycle Marketing. We will also make this presentation available for download later today on the Leanplum channel of Bright Talk website. If you'd like to learn more about Leanplum, please email hello@leanplum.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.